Hey guys, my hiatus from YouTube ends tomorrow, and I had hoped to do like a better vlog than this. Actually, I was torn between just doing like a regular update and doing a vlog, but I decided I wanted to do a vlog. And I had hoped to do more than this, but it has just been a busy month. And my mom's kitten Dax, well, he's not really a kitten anymore. He acts like a kitten, but he's like a 2-year-old cat. He hasn't been acting like he's feeling well for the past couple days, so we're actually gonna go take him to the vet. So that I just found out. So like I'm gonna try to get some done before I go, because I don't know how much I'm going to get done. So I took a hiatus from YouTube for a month, and what that basically meant was I wasn't going to be scheduling anything, promoting anything, not really trying to keep up with that grind. Originally it started where I also wasn't going to be posting to like Instagram and Twitter. I was trying to take like a break from social media. I had mixed results with that. I haven't been posting to Instagram so much anyway, because it just doesn't do anything for me anymore. It used to be a really great one for me to share art and talk about shows and to talk about upcoming reviews. And in the past 3 years, like ever since I did that Instagram challenge, it's just been terrible. So it's not one I feel like I need to use all that often. And Twitter, I actually locked my account at the start of the hiatus, just for a few reasons, but also because I had heard that locking your account meant that the people who are actually following you see your posts more frequently than if not. And I wanted to test that. And it's been kind of a mixed bag, but what I really like, what I really appreciate, is not getting random hot takes from randos who don't know me, have never talked to me, and yet they feel the need to correct me on something that they misread. So that's actually been really nice. I may leave my account on locked just to help filter that. But since it is locked, it means that it's not like editors who aren't following me or agents who aren't following me would be seeing anything I promoted. So it actually de-incentivizes constantly pushing to that. So while I have been updating it some, not nearly as much as I used to. So that is also great. As for like, I have been making YouTube stuff, but I haven't necessarily had the time to get it like edited. It takes me a huge amount of time to like do the thing, edit the thing, screen the thing, and get it online. Other YouTubers have talked about it. I do my own editing, so it just takes a while, but I've got like a good little backlog to share with my art nerds. And I apologize for not getting anything out to you guys. I have actually written 3 posts because a bunch has happened this month, and I haven't even had time to like finish writing them or send them to you guys. So I'm debating whether it would be better to do like a quickie recap or to just like start afresh. But in the interim, we went to the Tabasco pepper experience. I was supposed to be working on a poster for the Jambalaya Fest, but that kind of is in limbo now, probably not going to happen. And that's a topic I'd actually like to talk about once things kind of resolve, just to talk about my experiences with it. And working on a bookmark for a comic shop that I really respect and listen to their podcast, so I'm excited about that. And then I've given it a lot of thought, and I've asked Joseph to actually take over managing the rest of the 7-inch Kara Volume 2 Kickstarter. Like, I can do the stuff, but I need someone like managing it for me. And I finally asked him to do that. So all of that happened this hiatus as well. Other than that, and the Livingston Denim Springs Comic Con. And I recorded something for the Livingston and the Luling Parade. So it's actually been a lot of stuff going on. Just been doing those things. My allergies are acting up because it's after Ash Wednesday. So what is it? It's actually the Friday after Ash Wednesday. So it's spring. Louisiana thinks it's spring is where I'm going with that. And so it is allergy time for me this year. So if I sound weird, congested, sneezy in videos, I'm not sick. I just have pretty vicious allergies. And what else? Actually taking a hiatus from updating YouTube felt good, but I didn't really like see it all the way through because I just spent a lot more time making TikToks and like reposting them over on YouTube. So I actually haven't really been that absent. I've just been updating in a different way. And my flawed rationale for that was like, well, I don't want to like totally mess up my analytics so that nothing ever gets recommended to people anymore. I need to keep something coming in. I don't even have my shorts monetized because I felt like the language in their monetization, their like new partners program info was like a little confusing, and I wanted some time to like suss it out and see what other people think. So I'm not even making money from shorts. I just wanted to make sure people were seeing what I was working on and were staying engaged. That's like the super duper quick version of what the past month looked like. I'm recording this in chunks because I don't actually know when I'm going to get pulled away to go to the vet. So let's start with the Tabasco experience, I guess. So that is in Avery Island. That is the original place where they grew Tabasco peppers. Now they're grown a variety of places and sent in, but I think that's still their main bottling facility. As a Louisiana girl, I am legally required to stan both Tabasco and Tony Chachere's. Do they know I exist? No. Do I want them to know I exist? Oh yes. Oh yes. If there was ever like an influencer brand deal I would hands down say yes to, it would be Tabasco or Tony Chachere's, because one or the other or both goes on or in to the making of most of our savory foods, especially Joseph and I, who both like flavorful spicy foods. So it was fun. It was for Joseph's birthday. The tour is $15. That includes the botanical gardens next door. The botanical gardens are huge. We went a little bit early. Things were green, but nothing was blooming. It would probably be awesome to go in like March when the Louisiana irises are blooming. The snowy egrets, the great egrets, and there's one more type of egret, cowbirds, were out and nesting in the nesting boxes, and that was pretty cool. But like none of the water lilies were blooming, none of the irises were blooming, so it would be worth a trip back out to go check it out. I have been to the Tabasco tour a couple of times, but they have completely and totally revamped it. I actually don't like it as much. It was a tour provided by a factory worker at one point, and that was really cool because they knew things. And now it's a self-guided tour, and it's just not as cool as having them give you the tour. We also went on a Sunday, so it was busy. There were people there, but it wasn't like anybody was like working the factory, so you couldn't actually see the production line. If you're curious, it is in my shorts. I recommend you check it out. I didn't like narrate it or give a lot of information about it because my memorization is garbage, and I don't want to subject you guys to that. The coolest part, in my opinion, is their country store, because they sell a bunch of Tabasco products you can't get anywhere else. And I actually kind of regret that, because there's some cool things that I was like, oh, surely they will have this online. No, they don't. They don't, but they do have recipes online. So that's pretty cool. And if you like spicy food, you ought to consider checking out the Tabasco pepper experience. So the Luling Parade, I tried to capture some footage for you guys. It is a small, fun, local Mardi Gras parade, small town Louisiana style, rather than the everything that is like New Orleans Mardi Gras. I prefer it. I used to do the big parades when I was a kid. Seriously, when I was a kid. And you know, when you have a grown man threaten to punch you in the face over some beads, it really makes you rethink your priorities regarding parades. So not so much for me. I didn't actually use any of the footage or do anything with it because it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. It was really terrible quality footage, and you couldn't really see the floats or anything that was going on. I feel really bad about that. I had my screen down real low so I could save battery because we were going to be out there for several hours, and it's just not usable. I do have some, if you're curious about that, I do have some footage from like prior years, but it was a good time. We just hung out on the levee. My mom and brother came with us. We had some Subway, we ate some snacks, and it was just generally very chill. We weren't like trying to catch anything. We were just like enjoying the parade itself. Would recommend, if you're not interested in going home with bags full of plastic beads, if that's not something you need in your life, and I don't, that is a great way to do it. Also, it's like you park. I don't want to like give away my secrets, because in my years of how to be a con artist, I have like outcompeted myself at shows by telling people how great it was, and then I couldn't get into the show. So Maybe I won't give all my secrets, but if you're in my Discord server, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. If you're in the area and you want to like meet up sometime and do like the Lulling Parade or something. So I'm going to speak really obliquely about this because it hasn't 100% ended and wrapped up. But something I don't like as a comic artist, as someone who's done kidlit stuff, is honestly, I don't love the part of the pitching process where they're really interested and they're having you do a bunch of sketches and they're having you do a bunch of revisions, but they haven't committed to anything yet. And the reason I hate that is because it is literally weeks to months of your life spent doing this thing that you're really excited about and you want to tell people, and then they shelve it or they can it, and maybe you can't show it to people because you're working with like IPs, or maybe you blame yourself because it didn't go through for whatever reason. So you're not like in a place where you feel like you can share it because you're embarrassed about it. And that was kind of my recent experience with this, and I'm still like processing my feelings and still processing everything about it. But I really like the art that I produce for it, so even if things shake out the way I think they're going to shake out and they decide to go with somebody else, I'm going to do something with it and just change things enough, because I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think as an illustration it really stands on its own, and it's in the vein of what I do that's really a really good seller, so it would be a shame not to use it. But I did two like sketched out drafts, and I did color comps. It took like a month-ish of my life working on it and getting feedback and making corrections, which is not normally something I would do in the sketch phase before a commitment. Because of this, it takes up so much time, and often when you're working with clients who are not artists, they think when they make a suggestion for a correction, it's going to be done like that. Like you press the easy button and it does itself, and like that's not how it works at all. It takes a fair amount of time, and it also means if I'm working on something for someone else or I'm preparing for a show, I have to reprioritize, and they often don't like being told that you're busy working on something else because they think it means you just don't care, whereas it's like everything I do takes a huge amount of time to do it, and I can't just shuffle everyone else back so I can reprioritize you when we haven't signed anything and you haven't paid me and this is all up in the air. And this isn't like they're not the only ones who do this. I'm bringing this up because it's like actually a very common thing, and as someone who represents herself, I'm not always so good at pushback because I have negatived myself out of jobs before, so I'm always really afraid of putting myself back in that position. But if you don't advocate for yourself, no one else is going to advocate for you. So it's always kind of a balancing act with that. I have a vlog that I'm working on for the Livingston Parish Comic Con. It is a library Comic Con. I taught make a mini comic, and then it was like from 10 to 5, so a fairly short, 10 to 3 is a fairly short show. That said, Reel's here. That said, it went really well. Everyone was super nice. My camera wants to constantly change the exposure on me. We sold really well. I had a blast. I am looking forward to hopefully coming next year. And if you are interested in that Comic-Con, you should check out my upcoming vlog where I talk about it in far more depth. I really thought during the hiatus I was going to have a lot more time to draw and paint. No. I actually did do a bunch of watercolor studies in the beginning of the month when I was working on redoing and rebuilding my palette, and it was just taking forever, so I couldn't use my main watercolor palette. And I had a lot of fun with those, and that's something I want to kind of work back into my life, is just doing brush first studies, no sketches underneath. So enjoyed that. Also share that over on TikTok and in my shorts. And I did finish 2 watercolor illustrations. They will probably be tutorials. One thing I want to kind of recenter myself after this hiatus is I want to go back to regularly sharing tutorials as opposed to constantly doing so many reviews, for a few reasons. One of them is because even though the tutorials don't do nearly as well as reviews, I mean, just like on an SEO, people are going to be looking up products. It's going to bring new people in, but I'm always painting and drawing stuff, and I want to be able to share that with people. So I really need to I have a bunch that I've recorded and then just never did the narration for because I got depressed about the analytics, or I never shared it, even though I finished the whole thing because I got depressed about the analytics. So I really want to try to have tougher skin about that kind of thing and go back to sharing more like of what I'm working on and more tutorials in that sense. I've been doing that as TikToks and shorts, but I want to go back to doing more long form. And that, just been working on classes and teaching classes and being pretty burnt out about teaching, and that is a topic I do want to talk about at some point, but it is kind of a delicate topic and stuff is always up in the air about it. And just because, so like, I am burnt out on teaching as a like an overarching thing because certain things have happened, but it's not like those happen everywhere I teach. They only happen right now in one library system, but I am starting to notice it's becoming more of a thing in other library systems, and some of my friends who teach elsewhere, like in other states, are having similar problems. And we think it does have something to do with the pandemic and a lot of these kids spending a lot of time at home and not getting as much socialization as they would have. But because when you're a gig teacher, there's no support system really in place, or if there is, it's a skeletal one. You are dealing often by yourself with a lot of different problems without the support system that a traditional school would be able to provide in terms of rewards and consequences. You don't have anything. Now, one would argue, well, the kids are there voluntarily because it's free, so they should be motivated to be there. And unfortunately, no. especially when you teach for the younger ones, it becomes a babysitting class where they just dump their kids off. And that is not, I like teaching and I like sharing what I know. I used to babysit, and I have not babysat in decades because I don't enjoy babysitting. I'll babysit for like specific friends' kids and who I happen to really like their kids, but in general, I don't babysit. And there's a reason I don't babysit. And some of these classes are really that now, and it just kind of, it means I don't get to teach, and it means I don't get to cover any of the stuff that I want to cover, and I hate that. It's not as fulfilling as it used to be. So I have some stuff I have to figure out, and I do need to talk to my employers about getting more support and putting stuff in place, but that's a topic for another day. So my ride is here. It's time for me to go to the vet and get dewormed. I mean, time for us to bring Dax to the vet. I was able to cover a lot more than I thought I would, so I'm glad to be back. Hopefully we will hit some kind of a routine that is manageable. I've got some great stuff coming out for you guys, so I hope you guys are looking forward to it. And show some love to this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you've just been like watching these in the recommended page. Let YouTube know that you want to see more of this, because it's been a month since I've shared anything, and we gotta like kick that algorithm in the butt so that it actually recommends my videos. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys again on Tuesday. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and it's good to be back, guys.